Okay. This will be smooth as silk.
Thank you for this chance to speak. My question is about actually all of these questions. I've been told as an Albertan tonight several times that I don't care about these topics, but the truth is I don't understand them. And I think I speak for most Albertans. So would you guys, as a panel, as a provincial government, commit to a large-scale information campaign so that we do not have another Brexit experience in the world where people do more research after a referendum than before? These videos are fantastic. They seem fairly bipartisan. People have brains. They can figure that out for themselves. People have brains. They can do their own research. And that is a good starting point. Would you commit to putting those on YouTube as an ad, on TikTok, on Facebook, where people are looking, not just on a website where you have to search something up? You can't expect people to figure these things out on themselves because the wrong voices are sometimes heard.
I just say that's a great idea. I mean, one of the things that I've noticed in politics is that there are individuals who are really highly engaged on policy issues. They're the folks who join political parties and who engage in sort of letters to the editor and are commenting on Facebook posts. And most people are really just living their lives. And so part of this process that we're going through is seeing what resonance there is for the ideas that people are talking about in those forums to see how much appetite there is among the general public. So that's part of the reason we're doing this, but good idea to try to get some ads going to direct people to the site. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Excellent. Over here, guys.
Hi, my name's Mark. I'm from Edmonton, originally from Ontario. My question was for the immigration, but to comment on this one, it does sound like a great idea on paper, but not sure fully about it. But to my immigration comments, I had put some words here together. Canada is built on immigration, but mass immigration today is not the same as when our parents and grandparents came here. Back then, they arrived with little more than a suitcase and a dream, and they worked hard to build and live without government subsidies, without endless taxpayer funding benefits. Today, our system is flooded not just with people seeking opportunity, but for the policies that give new arrivals immediate access to housing, healthcare, and welfare, and all paid for by Canadians who are already struggling with high taxes and cost of living crisis.
Thanks, Mark.
This isn't sustainable.
Thank you.
Immigration.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm with you, but I can't play favorites. Thank you. It's great. It's a great comment. You're just out about a minute, right? Thank you for the points. Over here.
Hello again, it's Elder Taz. You know, I find it quite comical that immigrants don't want more immigrants. You know, had we put a stop to immigration as Indigenous people, not helped you guys survive in our land, you wouldn't be here. I think I really truly understand how the Jewish felt when Hitler started making his own laws. I'm deeply concerned, Danielle Smith, that you are overriding treaties, overriding Constitution, and not involving all Indigenous populations, not just those you are paying.
Thank you. Okay. Over here.
You know, despite Alberta being the wealthiest province, Alberta has both the richest of rich and unfortunately the poorest of poor people in Canada. Albertans pay between 25 to 48% in taxes in total, so an average of 44% of your earnings goes to taxes. Yet we struggle with poverty and growing wealth disparities. It's clear that our current system isn't working. And to address this, I propose a two-part solution. Firstly, we should increase taxes in the upper tax brackets here in Alberta by 2%. And for those earning $177,923 a year and above, with additional tax brackets to ensure the wealthy contribute fairly. For instance, those earning $355,846 a year should be taxed 20% rather than the current 15%, and added tax brackets reaching up to 23%. This would help redistribute wealth and fund essential public services.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's do this. Well, I would say this. There is a response to people that call for those tax increases, and some would say that you actually wind up taking in less when you make those increases. But let's ask somebody that might have the data to back that up. I don't know if I put Trevor on the spot, Premier, if you want to talk about that, or maybe both.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in first to know what you're referring to as something that's typically called the Laffer curve. Like, what's the tax rate that maximizes government revenue? And that depends on how responsive people are to tax rates. As you raise tax rates, the tax base shrinks. And I'll refer to some estimates from my colleague, or now retired colleague, Bev Dalby at the University of Calgary, who estimates this for provinces. And, combined with the federal top marginal tax rate, that top rate in Alberta is 48%, and that is perhaps right around that top of the Laffer curve. It might very well be that if you increase those rates higher, even if the goal is to raise revenue, you might not actually raise any revenue as a result. And in some provinces, they're actually far past the top, and they'd raise more with slight reductions.
MLA Glenn Van Dyken.
Well, I'm not sure what you're asking me, Bruce, but at the end of the day, I guess we're talking about taxation.
Hey, well,
and one thing that I will say is that it would be helpful. Michael Binion is not here tonight, but I've learned a lot from him over the last month with regards to responsible self-government and how his work, while he's working in Quebec over the last 20 years, he's observed that a lot of Quebec's ability to put forward more self-government is by proving out self-government. And I'm in Alberta, and I believe in Albertans, and I believe in the ability of Albertans. And so a lot of the discussions we're having tonight are about are we willing to become the responsible self-government that Quebec National Assembly is? And if we are, does that lead to increased autonomy within the government or within Canada? I think what we're discussing tonight is essentially taking authority over the areas that we are entitled to under the Constitution. And as some people think that's equating to separation, but taking control of the authorities that are already there within the Constitution, and tax collection is one of them.
Right.
This does not equate to separation. This equates to sovereignty within Canada.
You did pretty well for somebody who didn't know what I was asking you. He's the country gentleman I like to refer to him at. Over here.
We no longer have questions on this topic in this line.
Do you know what? Let's just do this. We'll whether it's this topic or the other 5 that we've had tonight, related to Ottawa, to Alberta Next, what you would like to see. Let's just do that as long as we can here, okay?
Hi, my question's addressed to Premier Smith. So one of the primary arguments that's been made about Alberta's separation or further sovereignty from Ottawa is that we would be able to develop as much oil as we wish, something that's been cited as an argument several times by the UCP government. However, if Alberta were to separate, BC and all other provinces would no longer have any incentive to work with us to build a pipeline. Not to mention that Canada owns the TMX extension. And so my question is, how would we realize any benefit if we have no option to export our product, and not to mention the investment scare that separating would have on the industry, something that Nancy Southern has mentioned several times. We've also seen this investment scare in Quebec in the 80s and 90s when they were dealing with a referendum question on separation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, those are all the reasons I support Alberta sovereignty within a united Canada.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, over here.
Hi, my name is Isaac Cantine. I'm an Edmontonian, born and raised. I have a question for the Honourable Premier Smith. But first, I want to preface that by saying that I'm like many people in the audience, probably have issues with our federal government. And I believe that all Albertans deserve transparency on where our tax dollars go. And this should be universal for any reallocation of tax revenue, federally or provincially. Someone has already raised the concern that the requirement for officials to publicly disclose receipts over $100 was removed. I hope that is reversed. But in the wake of that, there are some issues with that. This is maybe less red tape for the government. It is more red tape for an Albertan seeking information on this. After a string of public expenses that Albertans did not sign off on, $250,000 on a new rug in the legislature, raising MLA salaries, well, Albertan salaries stagnate, $80 million on children's Tylenol that didn't work and wasn't used.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, excellent. So the question actually, if you wanted me to read it aloud, are there any other ideas you have on what we might do, on how we can strengthen Alberta's sovereignty within the United Canada? So pose that to you, and again, the last topic you can address as well.
Okay, hi, how you doing? I'm a 45-year pipeliner and originally born and raised in Ottawa. My father was the director of finance for the federal government. He warned me when I left home, he said, save your money. Because you know what? He says, that Canada pension plan will probably not be there for you. That was from the director of finance, and he's the most honest man I ever known in my life. Okay, so anyways, his name was Robert Bonner. You can check it out. In the 70s, he was the director. Okay. Anyways, going on, and to prove about why we're at risk with the Canada Pension Plan, I urge everybody to take a look at the chart of gold. Try turning that chart upside down. Then you're looking at the loss of purchasing power that's going on in Canada. When all Canadians realize this, there's going to be anarchy in the streets. This is where we're at right now. So, and that's for real. And then I just want to mention that I think the topic that needs to be talked about here is Frank Vaughan, a very popular podcaster in Saskatchewan, did a deep dive on the fentanyl and the money laundering, and he pointed out that the 12% of the GDP of Canada is attributed to money laundering and drugs.
Thank you. So I'll just say that. I'll just say this. I'll just say this. Our Deputy Premier, Minister of Public Safety, Emergency Preparedness, Emergency Response, the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, they are going gangbusters on these topics. We're doing it different in Alberta. It's compassionate care. It's not providing more drugs to individuals. That's what we believe in Alberta. So thank you. Trying to give people a path forward. Go ahead, over here.
Good evening, I'm Timothy from right here in Edmonton. And first of all, as a cancer survivor myself, double hit lymphoma, I want to apologize for the ignorant, offensive behavior of the earlier cancer survivor. Continuing on from there, I work in civil engineering, and in engineering we deal with facts. The facts in the situation are clear. Alberta's natural resources and hardworking entrepreneurial people could make this land the freest, most prosperous region in the world. Yet Ottawa continually hamstrings our potential, siphoning our prosperity to the benefit of the East, hundreds of billions of dollars. Since Eastern Canada annexed us in 1905, without a vote, or any say in the matter, Albertans have been taken advantage of and increasingly underrepresented federally. Queen's University law professor Bruce Party notes that in a negotiation, you know you're winning when the other party is coming to you with offers, but we keep going begging to Ottawa.
Okay.
Quebec has shown us the way. Why don't we follow their example and have a referendum?
Okay, thank you. So can I ask, Premier, eventually when we get you to wrap, can you include some of the stats and facts on Quebec and how they do it and what we're trying to get to here? They do a lot of these things very, very well. Over here.
Good evening. My name is Logan West, and I'm a born and raised Albertan and Edmontonian, and I'm the Vice President Student Life of the University of Alberta Students' Union. In my opinion, for a strong and sovereign Alberta, we are facing a critical issue, and that is investing in Alberta's youth. Alberta's student-age population is rapidly increasing, and we are currently facing a significant youth unemployment crisis. Unemployment for young Albertans aged 15 to 24 in July was at 20.3%, and 28% of returning students can't find employment. A meaningful way to provide employment opportunities is to reinstate the Summer Temporary Employment Program, or STEP. This was a win-win initiative, a 4 to 16-week wage subsidy program that offered employers a subsidy to hire high school or post-secondary students for summer jobs. This program annually created roughly 3,000 summer jobs for domestic students, providing students with valuable work experience, transferable skills, and income while supporting Alberta business. I believe these steps are essential for a strong and sovereign Alberta. Thank you.
Hey, hang on one sec. What are you studying?
I am in a Bachelor of Arts program studying film studies and women's and gender studies with a certificate in international learning.
Okay. Awesome. Well, good.
But I don't worry, I always say after that I'm going to have to do a master's degree or get a law degree or something to make sure I get a job. Thank you.
I love your sense of humor. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Over here.
Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm a world citizen and Albertan as well. So anyway, I've got 40 seconds. Okay, here we go. My concern, I'm concerned about how divisive the language is when you talk about Ottawa. While I was here, you guys said attacks, invade, anti-Alberta, blame the federal government, and against Alberta. And it's just, it's the language of divisivenesss. And I'm okay with paying my taxes. I'm okay with paying Ottawa. If it means that the firefighters are going to be able to fight in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, or if little Johnny gets to have a new kidney in Saskatchewan, I'm not okay with my dollars going to pay for those ads that you have.
Okay.
Spewing off your point of view without really presenting the other side. I really feel the other side is not presented.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're rolling. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Farad Ranjbar. I'm thankful to the Premier and everyone else involved in hosting this event and listening to Albertans. I'm doubly thankful for the changes proposed in regards to pensions, policing, immigration, and tax collection, all of which are within the confines of what a province can decide on within Canada. But let me be clear, attempts to amend the Canadian Constitution, ending equalization, for example, or abolishing or amending the Senate are practically impossible. And I'm going to run through the rigmarole of why that is. The proposal of an amendment first has to pass the House of Commons, in which the Liberal NDPs have a majority. Then they have to go through our wonderful senators who are appointed by none other than the Prime Minister's office.
Yes.
After that, it has to pass the legislative assemblies of at least 7 other provinces. Premier Smith, as I'm sure you already know, there has been a long history of attempts made at positive reforms that give Alberta a fairer voice within Confederation, notably from Preston Manning's Reform Party, that garnered way more clout than the UCP could ever imagine having.
Okay.
But despite their great efforts, it's been 40 or so years and we have nothing to show for it. So Premier, I must...
Yes. Thank you. Sorry, man. It's like just way over the time. What are you going to do? So we've got like the lines. We're never going to get through the lines to save the time to mingle. So can I just ask group conscience? What do you think? 4 or 5 more in each line, and then we'll do the mingle. Does that sound fair? Okay. So that will mean we've got like 10 minutes each, and probably a comment from the Premier to close, and then we'll spend some time. So let's do that. Starting here. Okay.
Well, my name is Harry. I've always believed the ultimate form of public service is listening to the public, so thank you all for being here tonight. And not just the elected representatives, but the other panel members and the staff and volunteers here as well. I guess I'm broadly supportive of all of these things. I'm a 6th generation Albertan on both sides of my family, but it feels kind of like we've been here before. Premier Notley went across the country in an attempt to earn a social license from Canadians for oil development, to not a great result. Premier Kenney launched the Fair Deal panel, a equalization referendum, got Ontario on board and other large provinces representing more than half the country against Bill C-69 and 48. So I guess what's different today, and why do you think this panel and the ideas we're discussing now are going to break through there?
That's a fair question. Okay, go ahead. Premier, do you want to address it? Or do you want to say
we want to go through a few more, and then I can have wrap-up comments?
We'll put them all down. Okay, go. Over here.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Just with respect to all of the Alberta Pension Plan, Alberta Police Force, Alberta Taxation, and Alberta Immigration, these are all initiatives that create jobs for Albertans. As a proud Albertan, I would like to say that I have complete faith in Albertans to create world-class institutions in all of them, and I look forward to the jobs that they create. But they also insulate us from Ottawa, which is a recurring issue. If it's not an issue with the next government, it might be with the one after that. So my request is, would you please consider implementing these laws now as opposed to waiting, because as we mentioned, there's already a lead time to do a lot of these things.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Yeah. Good evening, and my name is Jibril Ibrahim. I am a proud Albertan and also Canadian. I'm also the president of Somali Canadian Cultural Society of Edmonton. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Premier and the rest of the panel for taking the time to meet with us tonight. I would like to give a perspective on different than the two individuals that spoke about refugees and immigrants. I came to Canada and almost about 85 years ago, and I know I came as a refugee and I came to Ontario. It is because of the support that I have received that I have gone back to school, work for a part-time, but also become a professional engineer today, contributing both in Canadian economy, but also the Albertans. So I don't think it's a great idea to talk about, throwing the refugees under the bus. I think we should provide all the necessary support. Yeah. But also we have to be like Ontario, where they have an adult school where those adults who came as refugees can go back to school, get the necessary skills that they need, contribute. And we keep talking about the equalization based on populations. If we do that, that means we are also going to be increasing our population and also have a say in there. And the second item I want to talk about is the provincial police.
You're like 2 minutes in, Jibril.
Yeah, I know. I want to talk about the provincial police. And I agree with the Premier that we should have Alberta police, and I like that idea. Mm-hmm. But we should not just be on the rural area. We should also do for the municipalities who are outdated from 1950s anyway. So
thank you for being here. Thanks to the Somalian community for what you do. Thank you. Appreciate it. Over here.
Hi, I want to start off by saying that I find all of your videos very troubling. The fact that a government is showing these as factual while blaming other orders of government does not help with positive intergovernmental relations, nor does it allow for genuine conversations focused on solutions. Focusing on the immigration topic, I find blaming immigrants for problems with housing affordability, increases in unemployment, and divisiveness in our province reprehensible. These accusations themselves are divisive. Immigrants are not the cause of these issues. Your policies largely are. Please focus your governing on... I still have time left, thank you. Please focus your governing on building...
Let's go over here, thank you. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. I absolutely know that you are all thinking the same thing I'm thinking. It doesn't matter though. Like, just let her go. Let's try over here. Ma'am, go ahead.
All right. My name is Catherine, and I am a lifelong Albertan, and I'm very committed to building strong and healthy communities. Sorry, it's distracting. I am concerned with how immigration is being framed in this conversation and in this video. It contains misleading, if not false, information, and even using words like open door policy, when in reality people who come to Canada do go through very rigorous screening processes. I don't think I'm being that political. The vast majority are selected and invited here.
Okay.
On average, newcomers receive less in provincial services than Canadian-born residents, not more. So if the goal is to select more of the new arrivals, that the Alberta government does that, how does withholding provincial supports help us to achieve that goal?
Thank you. Premier can add that to her comments in the end. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is for a question for the provincial police, right? I used to be an informant for the Calgary police, right? And I caught those guys covering up child porn for their fellow police officer.
Oh boy.
And so basically, you're talking about another provincial police system. How is that going to be any better when all these cops are covering up their crimes? And District 8 is the police place.
I would just say if there's anything, look, if you got any criminal allegations, report it to the authorities, is what I would say. Go ahead over here.
So I'm Iranian Canadian. I also like to talk about immigration. And so you talk about that you want to do something about immigration in Canada. Why you haven't done it? Like you could just do it, like build houses. You said the problem is with immigration, too many people coming here. Just build the houses. Like that's how you can solve the problem. Stop interrupting me. And I'm a skilled worker. I came here 15 years ago. I brought my education and work experience, and Canada paid nothing for my education and work experience that I did in another country. I did a studying for free in Sweden and Iran, and you didn't pay for that. And I even brought $10,000 with me when I came to Canada. And if you're talking about the refugees that come here with less money or less education or work experience, they have come from war. So you expect them to do war, like they have to escape their country. And my parents wanted, you let other people to go ahead. But whenever it's against your will, against your opinion, you don't let people go over.
It's not that at all. You can make your opinion known. It's how you do it. Let's go over here.
Hi. Yeah, thanks. I'll be brief. So effectively, I'm a maximalist on this issue. So yes, independent police, independent pensions, independent immigration policy, independent tax agency. Because without that, we have no, even the grains of sovereignty. And without that, we don't have any leverage over Ottawa. So if we build those things, like Quebec has, we have real leverage, and we should be using the notwithstanding clause and Section 33 and all of these things in order to actually get what we want from Ottawa. And we should have been doing that for the last 5, 10, 15 years, and we haven't. So as much as I appreciate everyone's time here, I would like to say, get on with it.
Okay. Gotcha. I think we've got one more on this side. Go ahead.
Hello there. My name is Anne. I'm an Albertan, and I don't want any of the things that you're saying here tonight. I believe that Alberta should not be creating division in this critical time of international diplomacy and trade. We talk in business about a rising tide lifting all boats. While Alberta's influence in Canada will increase as our government and population recognize the inherent value of all peoples in Canada. Alberta's unique. Certainly, so is Quebec, the Maritimes, our nation's north. Aligning our efforts with national priorities established in partnership nationally will increase Alberta's influence in Canada's direction. Political polarization is more common provincially. So by optimizing the rights of all Canadians at a national level, we're going to avoid some of that polarization, as I can hear it in my ear right here. Canadians should be the priority, and it's best achieved at that national level.
Thank you. Can I have one more? Just one more. One more. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for being here, Premier Daniel Smith, and all the members of the I can't be quiet. My name's Rob, and I wanted to say thank you. I'm for all this that's going on. I don't feel there's any divisiveness or anything like that. I feel it was very well presented, and there's no against anybody. It's very non-partisan presented, and I'm very thankful for that. So, and I have Made in Alberta I designed that, and I was born here in Alberta, and I'm glad that you're giving the choice to people on whatever happens in the future. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for all the ones that have been so, however they want to present their opinions without respect.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
So we're down to the wire. Premier, there's a lot of questions coming here, and I don't know how you're going to address all of them, but I'd like you to try and sort of bookend as we thank you all for coming tonight. If you could do that, and then maybe just remind everybody why we did come in some closing comments.
Well, I'll try to identify a few of the reasons for why this conversation has started and why it seems to be that it's so polarized. I feel like there are those who believe that Ottawa can be reasoned with, can be negotiated with, and just by sitting down and having tea together, we'll be able to resolve some of the policies that we have. That has not been my experience in 3 years of dealing with Ottawa. So let me just tell you what's coming so that you understand. As of January 1st of 2026, one of the federal policies is that we are all going to have 20% of the cars being purchased in the country be net zero cars. Sure, I hear some partisans here saying that's great. So let me just tell you the math on this. Alberta buys 225,000 cars a year. We would have to buy 44,000 cars to reach that target on January 1st. The sum total of all hybrid and electric cars being created in the country is 25,000. So this is the nature of what we're dealing with within a rational federal government that has put forward policies that are unachievable. I know there's lots of folks in the tech sector here. We have 17,000 megawatts of asks from data center companies that want to build in Alberta. And we have no one willing to come forward to build a natural gas power plant because of federal regulations that says that the executives will go to jail in 10 years if they're not 95% abated. That's the net zero power regs at the federal level. I've been trying for 3 years to get them to see reason on that. That is also in the Constitution. The electrical grid is provincial jurisdiction. So look, I am all for diplomacy, but you have to be willing to meet people on a two-way street. And I think that's what I've been observing with Ottawa, is they're not meeting us on a two-way street. When it comes to immigration, I just want to put this into perspective. I mean, to go to the numbers, I know the personal experience. I know we had an immigration system we were all so proud of because it was working so well up until the most recent couple of years. If we could just go back to having a more normal number of newcomers coming into the country, like 1% even, we would bring down the social tension and we would be able to accommodate everyone who came here. And so this is the issue. It's a matter of the numbers. So if we had 1% of the population per year coming to Alberta, that'd be about 50,000 a year. We've had 450,000 come in the last 3 years. This is the reason why people are feeling like we might have a little bit of problem at the federal level with the numbers that are coming into the country. It is not an anti-immigrant sentiment. It is a matter of what is the right level and what can we absorb. So not only can we afford it as taxpayers, but for a newcomer arriving, they have the support that they need as well. So I hope that you take it in that spirit. That's what we're trying to understand, is what is so different in the last couple of years. And a lot of these policies manifest in the last couple of years, which is why it has created the social tension we have now, which is why we're having this conversation. So just a couple more things I'd say. What is Quebec doing? Well, Quebec has international offices. They have 32 international offices, and they have about 5 times as many staff in those international offices. They do direct negotiation, and they do direct advocacy on their trade agreements and everything that their economy has to offer themselves. They don't ask Ottawa to do it on their behalf. We have about 16, and we are also expanding out our international office presence for that exact reason. They have international agreements. They've got got a law that says if the federal government signs an international agreement, it doesn't become enforced in Quebec unless the Quebec legislature also affirms those international agreements. That's something they already do. They collect their own personal income taxes. They also have opt-outs. If they don't like the federal program dictates, they opt out of the program and they get the same amount of compensation so they can spend it as they like. They also have a transfer of tax points, so they get more tax points because of doing some of these opt-outs. They have their own police, they have their own pension, they have their own immigration system. They choose 55% of the newcomers that come into Quebec through their permanent nominee program. And they have a lot of strength on agriculture, as you've seen with the dairy issue. And so agriculture is an area of provincial jurisdiction, and I can tell you they defend that tooth and nail. So when you look at what are we talking about here today, we're talking about all the things that Quebec is already doing. And that is the question, is do we want to become more like Quebec in managing our own affairs? So a gentleman asked, So a gentleman asked, what is the difference today? Well, the difference is today is we're bigger. Maybe we couldn't have had this conversation when we had 1.5 million population. Maybe we couldn't have even had it when we had a 3 million population. Maybe we couldn't have had it when we were only generating $20 billion in revenue. Well, maybe we can have it now that we're generating $75 billion in revenue. One of the things I would ask you to just consider, because I think we have a different interpretation on some of the historical developments. When I look at Rupert's Land and then Northwest Territories and then Alberta, when I look at the increasing numbers of areas of jurisdiction Quebec has taken over, that is responsible government. That as you develop the means to take care of your own affairs, then you start taking care of more of your own affairs. Are we at that point now? That's what we're asking about. It may not have been the right time 20 years ago when this conversation started. It may not have even been the right time 10 years ago, but is the right time now? I think it is. And looking forward to seeing what you have to say about it. So thank you.